Hello everybody. Today's video is about the 3 tools of control. The 3 tools that Jehovah's Witnesses use to control your life. Now the first 2 tools aren't bad at all. Okay, but when you add the 3rd element, then it alters the first 2 elements and it really puts you under their control, because human beings respond to certain things. And any cult or anything that's trying to control you will use these 3 things to get you engaged and to make you never want to leave. So what are these 3 things? And I'm explaining them so that you know what's been done to you, so that not only can you understand it to undo part of it, but you can understand it to use some of those elements for your own good. Like I said, the first 2 things I'm going to talk about aren't bad if you use them the right way. It's just that when people are trying to control you, it's used in a manipulative way, and it will hold you back from ever reaching your potential. Now, what are these 3 things? The 3 things are hope, repetitions, and fear. Hope, repetitions, and fear. Now, the first 2 elements are elements of anything that you want to be successful at. You're going to need those first 2 elements, but the 3rd is what will entrap you and alter the results and the effect of the first 2 elements. So let's go through the 3 elements separately. Now, first is hope. People are always attracted to hope, and there's nothing inherently wrong with hope. Okay, hope can be your dreams. Hope can be the things that you really want for your life, or hope can be set up in front of you like a carrot, right? People get motivated by a carrot or a stick. So that hope can be presented to someone who can't see any. So let's talk about kind of the more negative way that hope gets used, or how the organization might have used this to gain membership. Now, most of you watching this were probably raised in the organization, 2nd or 3rd generation, okay? Or some of you might have come in yourself, but it still was used the same way. Some of you have grandparents that came in, right? And maybe they're coming out of a time like the Great Depression. So when they hear things that were said way back in like 1922, millions now living will never die. And you're coming out of something like the Great Depression, and you hear this, and this is what they used to say all the time: millions now living will never die. I think they said that in 1922. How great does that sound? That you're going to have a paradise earth, that these conditions and struggles that you're facing today won't exist. Maybe some of you are an African American, history, and coming out of the civil rights era, right, when things were very, very not fair. Maybe your parents got involved then. Isn't it wonderful that one day everybody will be equal, and we're going to live in this great place, and we're going to live forever, and we don't have to face any of this anymore? See, whatever it is, whatever you're going through, maybe it's just a personal thing where people are just having a really hard time, and maybe financially it just wasn't happening for you. Maybe you're coming off of an abusive relationship, or whatever it is, that kingdom hope, or what they call a kingdom hope, sounded so wonderful that you couldn't resist it. Whatever it was like a tall glass of water. And it's usually people who cannot put this together for themselves a lot of times. It's people that can't visualize and dream for themselves. So this thing is presented, and it's so appealing that you can't resist it. How do you say no to something that sounds so wonderful? Ever notice that when you were in field service, it was always the poorer neighborhoods that took the most magazines, right? This is fruitful territory, they would say. I remember when I was a kid, they said it was the sheep and the goat, and then we would go to the more affluent areas and couldn't place anything. Why was that? The people who are more intelligent or more schooled or more book smart should be able to recognize truth quicker. They should be able to disseminate quicker, like, wow, these people are on it. I did my research and wow. But no, it was always the poor neighborhoods, because the people in the richer neighborhoods, or more affluent neighborhoods, didn't need your hope. They liked their life. Many of them have a faith and they believe they're going to heaven. So what do I need this for? Right? And they would immediately see the flaws, whereas the people in the poor neighborhoods would not, because the hope was so bright. So this is why this is used so effectively on people who have situations. Most times when you have a new Bible study in the Kingdom Hall, it's usually somebody going through something. The downtrodden, the people who don't have much hope, and then they now have hope. Maybe not in this world, but of another world. All right? So that's how hope is used. Now, I'm not saying hope is bad, because we all need hope. If you look at the last political race, the presidential race, or the last few, what was Obama's theme back in the day? Change. Change. Everybody wanted change, so he just kept saying it, and people wanted to see change, right? So his slogan worked. What was Donald Trump's theme? Because they understand this stuff, okay? I got to give them hope. Make America great again. You see, and that resonated with people far more than Hillary saying together we're stronger, you see, because he painted hope. Whether he can do it or not is another story, but he gave the vision of hope. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. And everybody would see the world he was describing. One day, my 4 little children are going to hold hands with children of, white kids or white parents. I mean, he gave that vision. People saw it, and it gave them hope, and that's why the civil rights movement worked. So it's not bad to have hope. Just don't use it to be manipulated. Okay, so that's element number 1 of how you're controlled. Again, not bad in and of itself, but this is element number 1. Element number 2 is repetitions. Again, not bad in and of itself, but repetitions will really lock in whatever it is you're trying to believe or what you're being led to believe. This is why you went to meetings so often. This is why you're on your personal time you're supposed to study. This is why you got to go out and service so many hours, even though you weren't accomplishing much. Most of you just sat around in a van and rode around all day, right? Or half the day. You knocked on doors of people who weren't home. You weren't really accomplishing anything, but it was using your time. Really, how many people did you know were actively conducting Bible studies? Some were, but most weren't. Most times people would go out on a Saturday morning and accomplish absolutely nothing. But the repetitions of the actions within the belief system kept driving it home. Again, this is not an inherently bad thing, because success requires a dream and repetitions. If you look at a great basketball player, say like a Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, everybody will say that was the first person in practice and the last person to leave. This is the person that didn't take off for the summer, just kept shooting, just kept getting better. And they were better because of their repetition. So again, this is a useful tool if you're trying to be successful. It just gets used on you if someone else's agenda is being played on you. All right? So these first 2 elements of repetition, first 2 elements of control are not bad. And you want to use them. When you know what you want and you know what you dream of, you want that hope. You want those repetitions to get good at what you do. Right? But it's used on you if you're not aware. And how is it used on you? It's used by the last tool, which is fear. Fear. Fear drives it all home. Fear is the controlling element that makes those other 2 elements used for someone else's agenda. Fear is what takes your power away. You will never get very far at anything if you come from a fearful place. And all cults and all things that try to control you will use fear. You see fear used in politics when people are running for politics, running for office. They use fear a lot. They use the hope and they use the fear. But in the Jehovah's Witness religion, fear is used like nowhere else I've seen. You're fearful of dying at Armageddon. You're fearful of leaving the truth. These images are almost abusive, what they do to your mind, because what happens with your mind is your mind starts operating in a fearful way. Your mind cannot operate normally because it's afraid of everything. My friends, just look at these images and tell me that this does not do damage to your mind. These images are horrible. These images will stunt you as a person. It will take away your ability to move forward. It'll lock you in place because you'll just wonder, what if they're right? I remember when I was about maybe 13 years old, there was a house that was 2 houses away from me that caught on fire in the middle of the night. And when I looked out my window, all I could see was orange. The whole sky was orange. And I got on my knees and I started praying and I was crying. I was bawling my eyes out because I thought it was Armageddon. I couldn't see the house. I just saw an orange sky. You know, my garage blocked the house. I just saw orange everywhere and I heard things exploding. And I was crying, thinking that I had not done enough. I had not done enough. Fear. It's used against you. You have a fear for losing your family. You have a fear of losing everything that you've known up to this point. Fear is the last component that is used for control and is the most controlling part of it. And all of you are very, very brave for stepping away from this, because I do understand if you are fearful of leaving. These elements of control are not by accident. You are not fed these horrible images by accident. Now, I'm not making these videos just to bash something like I always say. I'm saying understand the elements of control and begin to use it for your good. Okay? You are controlled by guilt and fear. You were never doing enough. Give them something to hope for. Make them think that everybody else is delusional, like everybody else is wrong. That's why you call it the truth. You see, you're wrong, everybody else, you're right, and everybody else is wrong. Make them think they're not doing enough. Were you ever doing enough? Are you ever giving enough in donations? Are you ever putting enough hours out in service? You see? And then, if that doesn't work, take their family away. Ultimate threat. You see, these are just plain the elements of control. Now, what I'm asking you to do, I challenge you to do, is take those first 2 elements, because they're necessary. Find your dream in life. Find what you want to do, what you're called to do, what's burning in you, what's your passion. Let that be your new hope, because something was given to you. For whatever reason, it's been put in me to make these videos and to help people to move forward, to help people to see life differently. But find your gift and what you're driven to do. Okay? That's the challenge. What is your new hope? What's in you? What can you add to this planet? And then the repetitions and the focus. You know, you can't hold 2 magnifying glasses and burn a piece of paper. You know, as kids we did that with the sunshine, right? We tried to burn a piece of paper. No, you've got to hold 1 magnifying glass steady. You can't hold 2. You can't focus on 2. You hold on to 1. And that's the focus you need. And the repetitions that come with that. So once you find what it is that you need to do in your life from this point on, then it's repetitions as to what it is you want in life. Not what you're told, what it is that you see, what your calling is. These first 2 elements are very valuable, but you need to use them to move your life forward. The last element, fear, you need nothing of. The only thing you should fear is fear itself. People use fear like the boogeyman, right? It's just, what's there to fear, really? Everyone who accomplished great things in life didn't even fear death. The Martin Luther Kings, the Gandhis, the Jesus Christ. All these people did not fear death because we got one ride on this planet. You were given to do something special, unique, and I'm just challenging you to do it. So I'm hoping this video made some sense. Again, feel free to join our Facebook group. Hit the link below and join us. It's all about positivity, moving forward, and understanding the elements of mind control so we can get back in control of our own lives. Take care. Be blessed. Talk to you in the next video.